My name is Andrea Feagin. I am an international life coach, a speaker, and an international best-selling author. Today I want to talk to you about going from a life that's considered a mess to one that is magnificent. How can I do that? Because that's just what I did. My life was one big mess, and today it is magnificent. I love what I do, and I love how I do it. There was a time that I had the title of a teenage mom. Can you believe it? Me, a teenage mom. I was so afraid. I was afraid. I thought that life was over. There was nothing left for me. I was done. I was finished. I was carrying this innocent baby in my stomach, and I thought that life was over for me. And right when I thought things could get better, I got a phone call that the baby's father was taken to a juvenile home because he had gotten himself into some trouble. So now I find myself alone. Could you imagine the fear, the thoughts, the doubt that was running through my mind? How am I going to take care of this child on my own? I had very little skills, very little to invest into this child. And statistics say that if you have a parent that is incarcerated, it is over 50% chance that that child will one day be incarcerated. Fast forward, years later, my worst fear had come upon me, and my son was facing jail time. I could barely sleep that night. I was tossing and I was turning and I was sweating and I was dreaming all kind of craziness. I knew I had to get up and to go to court to face this sentence with him. So I was struggling with sleep anyway. I got up early. I drove a half hour from home to be there. And while I'm waiting, I'm pacing back and forth, up and down the hall. And an officer comes out and says, "Ma'am, can I help you?" And I explained to this officer that I was there, my son was going to be sentenced, and I was waiting. And he said to me, "Ma'am, I am so sorry that your son has already been sentenced." I felt like I just was gonna fall out. Like my knees began to buckle. I could barely stand. I couldn't believe that I had been there early, waiting. And my son had to do that alone, when his mom was right out in the hall, and I heard nothing. On my way home, I felt so guilty. I began to blame myself. If only I had some investment in myself. If only I had something to give him. I had low self-esteem, so I didn't have self-esteem to give him. I was insecure, so I didn't have security to give him. I didn't have much to give him. And that weight was weighing on me so heavy. It was like bricks on my shoulders, just knocking me down. It was hard to stand and stand strong. But I made up in my mind that I was going to invest in me so that I would have something to give him when he came home. I was no longer going to tolerate not being able to pour into my son, even though he was a grown man at this point. And I began to do what I needed to do to heal my heart and to transform my mind, the way that I was thinking. There was choices that I made that weren't good, and there was some that I should have made that I didn't make. So I had to transform the way that I thought, the choices that I made. I made a decision that I would begin to activate my dreams, my desires, that the work that I did, it would be because I love it, because I had an emotional connection to it, not just because it paid money. And in doing so, my life went from what was a mess to magnificent. And I can stand here and say to you today, if you feel like your life is a mess right now, and you feel hopeless, you feel helpless, you feel like it's just over, you are listening to the right message. because I am a witness that your life will go from messed up to magnificent if you do the work. If you invest in you, if you invest in healing your brokenness, healing your heart in the places that it is shattered, transforming your mind, changing the way that you think, changing the people that you hang around, changing the things that you do, the places that you go that's not healthy for you, and activating that thing that fuels you, that lights you up on the inside. Do that for your work, for your career, or start a business. It has to be something that feeds your soul, where there's an emotional connection for you. And doing that, I'm here to tell you, your life will go to what appears to be messed up to one that is magnificent. And so that is my prayer for you, is that you will go from messed up to a magnificent life, that you will heal your heart, that you will transform your mind, and that you would activate your dreams and your passions. God bless you. Bye-bye.